Hi, this is Jason Long with Long Talks Video Podcast, and I have the pleasure this afternoon of having an old friend of mine, Herb Forkenbrock, who is the president of Ballpark Sports Baseball. And I just want to welcome Herb. Back in the day when I met him, he used to drive limousines for me at the same time that he was running this operation. So I'm going to let Herb kind of explain exactly what he does, because to me, it's like a dream job that anybody would really want to have. But Herb, thanks again for coming on my show. And I'm just going to go ahead and let you kind of explain what you do on a day in and day out basis for the kids.
Well, I run about 100 tournaments a year throughout the Midwest. We do them at the Diamond Point Sports Complex in Bourbonnais. We have them also at Olivet and Kankakee Community College on the high school level. I got them out in Hammond, Indiana. We do Purdue University Northwest out there, along with the Optimist Park for the younger kids, which a lot of the teams locally have gone there. And then I use Kerrywood Stadium down the street from Wrigley Field. I have tournaments out at Northern Illinois University. Probably the cream of the crop one that I have is out at Carthage College in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So we run quite a few. Back in the day, Scotty Fletcher and I ran our World Series in Florida. In Tampa, we got to use the Tropicana field for our championships. In fact, David Freese of the Cardinals played in the one.
That'd be awesome, man.
Of ours, which was unbelievable. Who would ever think he's going to be a World Series MVP in the real world? But no, it's been enjoyable for me. I mean, it is a lot of long hours. Some people will say, "Oh, boy, it must be fun to do that." Well, I'm from April till about the end of July. I'm going to bed at 12:30 in the morning and getting up at 3:30 in the morning.
Jeez.
You got to check the rain, everything else. So it keeps you busy. It's been enjoyable though. I enjoyed as a coach with the kids, and when I decided to get in, I thought I could do good for the kids and stuff, and which it has gone well. On the college level, I've had a lot of kids sign pro contracts. That played in my tournaments. Gavin Lux for the Dodgers, one of the latest ones. The Chicago White Sox, the Chicago Cubs. Howard played for the White Sox Aces. Played in a lot of my tournaments. He was their number one pick last year. So I've had quite a few that have gone well in college. We've had college recruiters out there for the high school kids. So I'm very proud of that. I think that has been a great thing.
And now both my boys, Jordan and Carson, have played in your tournaments, and several ones, in fact, from Diamond Point out to Olivet. Let's just say an average tournament that would have 15 teams. How long does that take from start to finish to put together that program, from teams entering in, putting your ads out there, to doing the brackets, to what's the average time frame if somebody's going to do a tournament to have that put together, minus any rain delays? And I know rain delays screws everything up, but
right.
In perfect weather, how long does that usually take you to put together?
Well, I start out posting all my tournaments in August. So the thing of it is, once we hit about June, I'm doing about 250 teams a weekend when you combine all of them. So you got to make sure you're coordinating where they're playing, what the hours. You got some coaches saying, "Hey, we got to play at this time because kids work in the high school level." I'm saying,
right.
And then the younger levels, you got graduation. Sometimes you got to deal with things like that. So, the preparation before you get to that point, before the tournament actually starts, I don't think people realize how much work you really got to do. There's a lot of planning. I travel to all these places in the off season, make sure things are together, go to different coaches' meetings, go over rule changes. We do some stuff at the college baseball convention where we do the youth meetings there, and so it does take a while. Once you get rolling and get everything in, to set up a tournament, usually I'm setting my schedules up 10 days in advance, getting them out there so everybody can make arrangements if they haven't already asked a specific thing for me as far as a time. But it takes a good week before the tournament to make sure everything's in place once you got your teams, all set to go in the tournament. And then, of course, once the tournament starts, sometimes you get hit with the rain situation. But usually, if I have a rain delay, people say I'm one of the quickest at it. Usually I can turn around that schedule within 20 minutes.
So And here's a question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Here's a question. Let's just say going forward into this year, because Carson, my middle son, has switched teams, but the majority, I think, of theirs are going to be out at Diamond Point. What's with the rain at Diamond Point? What's with?
They've gotten better over the years getting them done. There's the thing. They have gotten better because if Eric Sear was on here, I'm sure he'd be popping on it. So they have gotten better, and I've told them, hey, if you can get the fields ready, let me know. I mean, if I got to back the tournament up, usually I'm getting an answer about 4:30 in the morning.
Gotcha.
And I get out to everybody by 5:30 saying, hey, we're setting the tournament back to start at 1 o'clock.
Right.
Because it's going to take them that long to do all 6 fields. So that has gotten better. The problem with those back 2 fields especially, those are the worst, is because the previous owners of the complex, they did it wrong. They put a clay base underneath that field. Now think about clay.
Holds that water.
Water's not going to seep anywhere.
Gotcha.
Well, they made the big mistake. Now, as a matter of fact, we just had actually, I was the one that got the company come out. They're out of Texas. In fact, they just gave a bid of putting turf on all the infields out there.
Okay.
If that's the case, there won't be any rainouts.
Oh, that's awesome. I told Carson I'd ask you that question.
Yeah, so we actually, it was my idea, and luckily some of the new board members are agreeing with me. So, but I've talked to also the mayor of Bradley, Mike Watson. I've been friends since high school, and he realizes a lot of the teams coming in there is actually benefiting Bradley because all the restaurants and the hotels are out that way.
Absolutely, absolutely.
They did an impact study on my tournaments about 7 years ago, which I do a lot more teams now. And this guy that does the college NCAA out of Cincinnati, he did it with all the businesses in it at this meeting, and I got invited, and they wanted to do my tournaments. And he did a ratio thing and said that my tournaments did $6.5 million impact to the community in the summer.
And that's awesome. And that's everything from
hotels
all
money that would never be here.
Hotels to running to Dick's Sporting Goods because your kid forgot their cleats, to restaurants and that's the biggest thing is yes, the impact of the community that travel ball, what it does. I mean, it's a huge money making and
money for the communities. Yes.
In fact, the Rock. Remember the Rock? I think it's called. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, up in Wisconsin.
They're putting their whole front is going to be hotels. They said they're into the outfield. It's going to be hotels because of the amount of people that those tournaments are bringing in.
Yes, and that's what happens. Yes.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, what you do, Herb, is awesome, and it takes a special person to dedicate that much time into putting these tournaments together. And I've been at many of your tournaments, and you do a great job. And
thank you.
We hope you stick around for a long time, and you don't decide to move to Punta Cana and enjoy retirement anytime soon. But another reason I brought you on here is we're going to talk a little Major League Baseball with the strike being done. I lost my previous 2 podcasts, obviously, because the strike was resolved before I could actually edit them and put them out. Right. So one of the questions, probably one of the biggest questions that I really would like your feedback on is, was the lockout that we just went through done, as I believe it was the commissioner of baseball that said this, was a lockout done to prevent a midseason strike where there could possibly be no chance at a playoffs or a postseason? Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. The thing you got to look at is that, they're already into October. I think you saw they're stretching the schedule into October.
Correct.
And, I mean, you can't go too much farther. The only way they could possibly do this is if you play on a neutral field. They put them in Florida or wherever, Arizona, to play the playoffs.
Which we have no home field. Then you have no home field advantage. Then
no home field advantage, and that's kind of how the NFL set up. But it so happened this last year it wound up playing at the somebody's home field.
Gotcha.
They're in California, but I mean the object is that not to happen. But as far as baseball, I think baseball more than football, it would really be a disadvantage if let's say the Arizona Diamondbacks get in and every game's played there for the Diamondbacks.
Right.
I think in baseball is a different scenario. I think there's a lot of home field advantage. You're used to the park. The outfielders are used to the way the fence is curved. Where the may dip out there. There's just so many things more than the opposition.
Right.
And I think that it would be a total disadvantage if they had to go on a neutral field and then the neutral field winds up being that team's home field. So I think they wanted to avoid that. I don't think either side really wanted baseball not to start on time. I will say that, that it was kind of an advantage on the owner's end as far as if they didn't go with baseball right away to start, that, it's bad weather for a lot of the areas, and they know they don't draw too well.
Right.
And it affects the players a little bit. A lot of the injuries when you look at some of these teams, a lot of the injuries are caused in that month of April because of the weather.
Right.
So, not everybody's playing in California, Arizona, and Florida. You know what it's like in Chicago to watch a game. It's not comfortable.
Well, even if you play the 162 games and you go into October, the weather in October, you could be down to 30 degrees.
It's hit or miss too. Yes.
Yeah. So yes, I totally understand that. And what about the damage control? What's your take on the strike? And are we going back to, was it 98? I had it wrote down. I'm trying to think when the last one we had was it.
I believe that was it. Yeah.
98. So what do you say? Being obviously a baseball fan and son, you have sons and you have grandsons, to the people that say, I'm never going to watch a game again. And if you're the MLB, what is your collateral damage? Like, I know it's a complex question. Nobody wants to miss baseball. But for me, I can speak for me and my boys. It's personal, and I think a lot of people don't understand it is because it's gotten me through some of the darkest hours of my life, through my divorce, through any issues. And so like they said, and why I played on the intro, it's that one constant that it's a distraction, and it's even going back to when baseball started with the war. It was something for a pastime to make you forget about what's going on. So for a lot of people, they really don't care what we just talked about, but the fact that baseball, we're not having an opening day, which I think it should be a national holiday, but You've got some people that are just, the MLB has lost a lot of fans, not that they did anything wrong, but because this wasn't ironed out before the preseasons, workouts, pitchers, catchers, before it started. So what do you have to say to the people that are like, I'm not going to watch it again, and to MLB, what you think they have to do?
Well, I know that, there's going to be people that are going to say, hey, I'm going to kind of boycott this and not watch games and everything else. I'm not going to go to games. Here's what people don't understand. I think sometimes actually teams are just as fine if you don't show up at the ballpark. Their revenue is mainly based on what they make in the TV revenue. Now, the other thing is, perfect example, let's use the White Sox. They struggled with people going to their games. Now they've gotten better, doing better. The way it's set up with this taxing in pro baseball, I think they're even doing it in basketball. Let's say you're the New York Yankees and you're packed every day and filled, the stadium's always full, and they charge a pretty good price. And the White Sox don't make any. Well, each team that is profitable has to give so much money back to the teams that aren't making money. And that was part of the agreement in Major League Baseball. And I don't think that's what the public knows and remembers, that luxury tax, that's part of it, that they're going to get paid whether they got, only 50 fans or if they get 50,000 fans and now they're profitable for the day. They're still going to be profitable.
So it's kind of like my son, who used to be a busboy at Oliver's, and the waitresses would split the tips with them because they're the ones that do all the work. So it's kind of like it's an even playing field. I guess it's, I don't know if that's the right term or not, but everybody's going to win regardless if the Sox are packed out and the Cubs have no fans. At the end of the day, it's going to be a level playing field for everybody.
Yeah, and because people look and they say, well, let's use the Florida Marlins, perfect example. How do they afford these high-priced players that they have?
Right.
They're lucky if they draw 5,000 fans sometimes.
Right.
I took a tour there a few years back with the GM of that stadium, gorgeous stadium, but they don't bring the fans in. And neither did Tampa Bay. And they still don't. So, I mean, teams like that, this allows them to buy those high-priced ball players and still compete. Because if not, think about it, they wouldn't have enough money.
Right.
There's no way. People that come to watch, there's no way they'd have enough money to pay these players.
And see, that's
another subject I think is sore with the fans. I mean, when you got some of these players making, 50 to 100,000 an inning, and a fan don't even make that in a year, and now those are they're the ones paying the price because the price of beer is $20 if they want to have a beer. A food. You look at a family of four you're easily looking $500 for the day.
So let me ask you a question that I didn't even have slated to ask you since we went here. Why does baseball, being the only sport that doesn't have a salary cap? What is that, or what's the reason behind it that or do you believe in the salary cap? I mean, we have the luxury tax.
Right.
And they've changed the terminology on it.
They probably should have a salary cap.
Okay.
They probably should. I agree with you. I think they should. I think these ball players, some of the prices they're getting is out of hand. There's no way you're going to spend $350 million in a lifetime. And getting that kind of money is crazy. I personally think, and I've talked to some of the pro athletes about this. I think it should be based a salary, and then plus you get commission on how well you do.
Off your numbers.
When you got a batter batting like 198 or not even 100, and then a pitcher that's 3-20, and he's still making $20 million a year, I think that's nuts.
I think.
Why should he pay that?
Right, exactly. And if you're going to get paid that, let's just say, and I'm going to throw names out there, and if I get in trouble, I get in trouble, but there ought to be a clause where, let's just say Jason Hayward, where you sign a long contract, and your numbers from the time they drafted you, let's say he was batting 300 with 50 home runs and 82 RBIs, and you get them, and the bottom falls out, but you're stuck with a $300 million contract that says, if your numbers aren't there, you're not going to get paid the amount of money that I did. Because the Cubs were infamous for this, but I don't know. You're a lot more knowledgeable than I am. But
that was a perfect example, because when the Cardinals didn't re-sign him, I was happy.
Right.
Because what he wanted, I said, he's not worth that money.
No.
And then when the Cubs take him, I said, what are they thinking? He's not a bad defensive player, but hitting, he's a nightmare.
Right.
You don't know who comes to the ballpark to hit, because he was, in fact, my good friend John Maley, who now is with Joe out there with the Angels. John said he struggled with him. He said he was a struggle. It was hard. But you look with what John has done with Trout and with the Japanese player, Dunio, I don't know how they pronounce his name, but he's done well with those two guys.
Yeah, I can't. I've always tried to. I gave him a nickname.
Hayward was a project. He was a project.
He is. He's a great guy, but he's our second coming of an Alfonso Soriano. I mean, we just have a knack for getting that.
Yes.
But that we could talk about that all day. So, do you think the damage? And we won't dread on this, but has the damage already been done, or is it unrepairable?
I think it has been. I think that, I'm leaving for spring training on Monday with my grandson, and then, seeing a few guys over there that I know. We're going to the Cardinals one mainly, but, I don't think they're hitting it in spring training right now that's hurting them, but I think that you may see somebody say, I may go to one game this year instead of my usual 10. Or they may say, you know what, I'm just not going to watch baseball for the first few months.
That's the thing. I don't think anybody.
I'll come back to it in a few months.
Right. I think if you're a baseball fan, it's like anything else. Like, you get mad at somebody, and you're like, I'm never going to talk to you again. And then it's baseball, and if you have a love for baseball and if you like baseball for the right reasons, I truly believe you're gonna watch it, and it's okay to be pissed off. You know, I mean,
Right.
the amount of money that these people are making. The one thing that I like is they stood up for the minor league players, and I really like. And this is another thing I'm going off of. I didn't brief you on this, but and just tell me if you're familiar with it. Is that if a minor league player gets brought up? Let's just say they get brought up. Let's just say if it was a normal season and it's April and we start, let's say they bring him up in May. If that rookie gets nominated, doesn't have to win it, gets nominated, let's just say he's an Ian Happ or a Nico Horner or a David Bodie that really got brought up and really shined, that if they get nominated for Rookie of the Year, they get credit for that full year now.
Well, they actually, when they get pulled up and they're there for sure, staying there, that salary is based on, well, currently, the first-year player in the pros gets $635,000, I believe.
Well, now with the new contract, I think it's $700,000.
Right. It's going to boost.
Yeah.
Now it boosts to $735,000.
$735,000. Okay.
So they would take how long he's there and divide that, and that's what he's going to get paid. Now, me on one hand, I think it's too much they're giving him. I mean, think about it. Most of these kids are getting pulled up or fresh out of high school and probably still living with mom and dad, and you're telling me they're going to get $735,000? That's nuts, I think.
Well, right. I was looking at the player at the people when I used to live in Iowa. We had a single A league there, which was the Burlington Bees, and I know a lot of people that used to house these people. And my stepdad's best friend owned a restaurant in town, the Golden Corral, and these guys got nothing. And I'm just looking at a player that maybe
no, the guys in the minors, no, they don't.
Right.
You're right. They don't.
And I'm just thinking for the player that maybe hasn't been able, for some reason, maybe they spend 6-7 years in the minors, and then they get their chance. That's the ones that I'm looking at. I'm not looking at your Javi Baez's that get brought up or whatever, but the ones that have struggled, that they're looking for that first paycheck that they haven't gotten anything for years, and now it's like, okay, I made it up. I'm going to get at least some decent money to compensate for what I've gone without for the past 6-7 years. I mean, some people, just like I used to tell my my oldest boy, you have to draw the line somewhere between what what your dream is and then going and supporting a family and getting a real job when you decide it's not going to work out for you.
Well, you got to realize that some of these guys in the minors got signing bonuses of like $2 to $5 million.
Yep.
So they got all that money.
Right. That's what they do with it.
Somebody is advising them properly and they're not blowing it.
Correct.
Which I've seen tons of them.
Yep.
That have just will it away. They go out, they buy them the most expensive car, they give their friend $10,000, they give this buddy. Before you know it, they're broke.
Yep.
Well, they're their own worst enemy because somewhere along the line, the parents didn't instruct them how to watch that money.
And that's it. Somebody didn't say, hey, take that money.
Well, they can fly with the salary they get down at the minor league currently because you got really no responsibility.
Right, exactly. You're going to be playing baseball and that's it.
So, yeah, it's...
So we went through that stuff. When did you get the love of the game? Whether it was a kid playing t-ball.
Well, I started playing baseball when I was 8 years old. Loved it then. Really enjoyed my first game that I went to. I believe I was 7 years old. My dad took me and my two brothers. Couldn't ask for a better thing. We went back then. You got to see doubleheaders. So my first game, the Cubs had Kenny Holtzman and Ferguson Jenkins pitching. The Cardinals had Bob Gibson and Steve Carlton on their side pitching that day. And that still is amazing. 4 of the best players ever to pitch in Major League Baseball. I got to see in my first game. So after that, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was great. The Cubs had a good team that year. It was the '69 Cubs, and it was just it was a treat to watch those games. And of course, they were day games. We had no lights there at Wrigley Field, but that's when I really got started doing it. My boys all played for me when I coached back in the day, and it was enjoyable. I miss those days, and that's kind of what made me stay with what I'm doing because I enjoy youth sports, enjoy the kids out there. I think it's baseball has changed since I played as far as parents are really focused on these travel teams. You don't see Little League, Pony League, Coal League is strong. As you remember, I coached the 92 World Champion Pony League team here. I don't think we'll ever see that again because it's just the pony's not strong, and I think more and more players are geared towards travel ball. And it is a way if a kid's good enough, like I said, I've had several that signed, got scholarships, several that have signed pro contracts that played in my tournaments, and but it takes a lot to get there, and I sometimes don't think parents realize what you truly got to do to get there. Kid just can't go out there and play and expect to be a superstar. There's a lot of competition.
There is, and again, I remember when I was going to put him in travel ball. It was actually midstream through my divorce, and it was actually when travel ball, as far as my knowledge, really started getting big, and that would have been when Jordan, he's 24. He was a freshman in high school, and a local guy here started up a club. I think the team was actually called the Nationals or whatever, and got the jersey and everything, and he went to a couple practices, and he's like, well, I need the tuition. And doing what the tuition was, and I had to tell my son, hey, give him the jersey back, because I had no knowledge of what, I mean, just a financial responsibility was. But then again, I had a conversation, and that was the year that they didn't have a Pony League team in town. And I was torn between everybody played Pony League, Palomino League, and then travel ball come in, and you're like, well, which route do you go? But I guess, pretty much nowadays after Little League, that's what most people are doing is doing the travel ball for the exposure, if you get on the right team to get the exposure that you need. And it is a tool, but travel ball is, to me, for the people that have the dream of playing at the college level or higher, right, to get the exposure, and if you get on the right team, to get the right coaches, the right training, and so forth. And it's a great tool, but my first one, I couldn't afford it. It is an investment that you put in your kid. It's really
expensive now. Yes, a lot of these academies that people play for, it's like a car payment. Some are paying $500-$600 a month, 12 months a year, making a payment to be with that organization, and it's.
Last year,
when I started travel ball. I'm sorry. And it's a lot of money.
Yeah, last year, I know we went to, with Carson, we went, and of course, if you go, your family's got to go. We went to Panama City, Florida, and we drove. We had 5 kids in the car, in a baby, and just the travel in the hotel was $3,500, not including, what you have done. So it's great if that kid has that passion and the experiences that Carson will have from here going out, even if after high school, for some reason, he says, I don't want to play baseball anymore. And it happens. They get girlfriends, they get jobs, they do all that. But it is. Travel ball has become the way and the pathway to somebody that wants to go above and beyond in training, experience, and exposure to the college and possibly, the Major League Baseball level. That's everybody. Yes. It's every kid's dream, and you can't take it away from them, and you just try to give them the best possibility. And I tell you what, your tournaments, the fields that these kids get to play on is second to none.
Yes, there's a beautiful fields in the high school level.
Yes, and even if they don't make it, just the opportunities that they've had and the memories they've made and the fields they've played on, it's crazy. It is a beautiful thing, and you do a great job with that. Is there anything better to you? And this is my question. I don't care, man. This is my question. I'll just ask it from my perspective. To me, there is no better memories than the ball game memories. I don't care if it's T-ball, minor league, if it's coach's pitch, if it's travel ball, or if it's a Cardinals, Sox, Cubs, whatever game it is. Really, besides the birth of your kids, is there is there any better memories than that? I mean, to me, it's no. But I just want to get your take on it.
No, I got great memories with my boys. Taking a baseball and coaching them, and even when they were involved with hockey. Now it's my oldest grandson. I mean, he wants to go everywhere with me. He's going with me to spring training. He got to go to the White Sox playoffs with me. He got to meet Ron Kittle because, Ron and I are best of friends. So he was there and at the playoff game. So we went and met up with him. And he just loves baseball. He loves going to the park now. His dad wants him to stick into hockey, but he loves going to baseball. And I look at it this way, when I'm gone years down the road, that he's going to remember that, just like my sons remember. They still talk about some of the games we went to and stuff. And, it's enjoyable. It's something that you bond with your sons.
Right. And that's the thing. And it's – my kids have played different sports, but I don't know what it is from – and, it's weird when you're at the park, you can recall – I remember having – my second youngest boy, Carson, on my shoulders and Jordan in front of me, and we were trying to take a picture with Wayne Messmer, who was singing the national anthem. We had our backs turned, and I'll never forget the crack of the bat. It was a home run, and we had our backs to the wall. Just the sound, and you remember the smell that was there,
yep.
And it's like
yep.
It's almost like you're taking a screenshot of what just happened. And again, I've been to football games, and I've never been to a hockey game, but I don't know what it is with the baseball. It's just I always do a thing. My kids laugh at me whenever we go to Wrigley Field. I'll run up from the bottom concourse up to the first level like I'm making my introduction into the ball field, like I'm a player. It's those things and it's those memories, and I think that's the biggest thing about baseball is, they call it America's favorite pastime, but it just everything's okay for 9 innings. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Life is good for the 9 innings. So going into that, we're going to get down to the dirty here, and I'm going to really pick your brain here, and we're going to talk Cubs Sox. And you know what? For you, we're going to throw in the Cardinals in here because I would love to have you back on here again. And
I would love to.
And we will. And I'm actually writing it down. I can't believe I'm writing this word down, man. Good thing I don't have a red pen. So we're going to talk the Cubs, Sox, and the Cardinals. And I'm writing this down, Herb. We'll start with let's start with the White Sox. Is what your prediction is as far as, let's just throw out how many wins you think they're going to have, and playoff / World Series where they would go. And I'm going to tell you, if you look at it on paper, they're stacked. They are stacked.
I see that. Well, first of all, I've actually been friends with Tony La Russa. God, I think it's been probably about 15 years. Tony really is a good coach. I know he's getting older and people question that, but he's still got a good baseball mind. So I think they got the right guy there coaching them currently. I wish my buddy Don Cooper was still the pitching coach, but, things change. But, you look at what they have and what they just picked up some more players. Mm-hmm. And the team was already looking pretty good before they picked those players up. Hands down, they're going to win that Central. I don't.
So you're on record. You're on record saying they're going to win the Central Division, correct?
I think they'll win the Central, and I honestly don't see anybody stopping them getting to the World Series.
Okay, so
unless for some reason that the pitching folds. That's the only thing that'll hurt them, is if somehow or another the pitching does not withstand, these other teams playing them. But other than that, I don't see how they're going to get stopped. Getting there, I see them winning over 100 games. I really do. I know I'm a Sox fan, I'm a Cardinal fan, but I'm also the type of person going to tell you like it is that, hey, no, there's no way. Just like when I said the Cubs were going to win when they did, the Cardinals aren't going to do it. Oh, you sure? The Cardinals, and they beat the Cardinals out. And I knew that because the Cubs were stacked. They had a good ball club. Knowing Joe real close, they had, to me, one of the best coaches in Major League Baseball at the time.
So can you guys survive another Eloy injury? Are you that confident, that stacked? You think you're okay?
I think so. I think they could do without him if they had to. They just picked up Harrison. I think that's going to be a plus for them. I think they got plenty of talent that's sitting on the bench and plenty of talent that's down in the minor leagues if they have to bring them up.
Who's your guys' closer going to be this year? Because we gave you a guy, and you switched his role on us. So who do you think's going to be your closer this year?
I think it's going to be the Australian guy. And I'm drawing a blank on his name. Liam. I think it'll be him again. I definitely do. I think Kimber will come in at times. I don't think he's as strong as they sometimes think he is, because every time I've seen him, he's got him cracked.
Right.
But that maybe it's just I'm bad luck, and I'm at that game when he does. But I think definitely that's who they're gonna turn to.
Okay, and who do you think is the key person to watch for this year? I guess the person that the biggest surprise is, let's call it. Who do you think is going to be the biggest surprise this year on the Sox?
Well, I think the one that that needs to be on target is going to have to be Anderson.
Okay.
I got to know Tim really well. My girlfriend Shannon, I've been with him and his wife and stuff. If you know, he lives in Homewood now. But I think that's what Tim wants to be the leader. And he definitely is. I mean, when he first came aboard, he did a good job in his rookie year. I think, if anything, he just is going to – he's had some temperamental problems. You've seen that on the field. But I think now he's really listening to La Russa, and I believe that he's going to go forward with that and just shine this year. He of all people, is going to shine, I think.
Okay.
Other players are going to be hit or miss, I think, some of them.
So we got you down as them winning the Central, going to the World Series, and Tim Anderson's going to be the person to watch, the person that's
yes.
Okay. So now let's talk. Go easy on me. Let's talk the Cubs here.
Oh, I will.
Let's talk the Cubs here, because I know.
And the thing of it is, the Cub fans got to enjoy those few years that they were really doing well. I know Cub fans kept getting promises that, because you guys did have a good minor league system at one point. You really did.
Mm-hmm.
I think I didn't agree with what they did to the Cub fans by trading all those good players away. I really, truly believe in that. And if you look at some of the other teams, you always need some mentors to stay on that club to help those new guys coming in.
Right.
I think kind of left, a few of the players that the Cubs had. One of them was a former Cardinal that you guys had playing third base. He really did well for you this last year, and Hap's done really well, but, there should have been more support for them. I don't think Jason Hayward's a support guy. I don't think he's a mentor, and that's kind of what you guys have. And I think that hurts. I think you picked up a good player in the Japanese player they picked up.
Yes.
I think that the Cub fans are probably looking to be contenders probably 5 years down the road, unless the Ricketts decide to spend a lot of money on about 5 guys at one time. Other than that, I think it's going to be a lot of rebuilding. I think they need to keep using their farm system, because they do have a good farm system. And I think that'll help. I mean, I know now the Cub fans have tasted what it's like to be a world champion. I know now it's been 6 years. But you've tasted that. It was a good thing. I think I was very happy for the Cubs to win. The fans deserved it. They've been there all the time, but I hate to see them having to slip back. I would be surprised if they do any better than 4th place in that division. I mean, I think they'll outbeat the Pirates, but I don't see them beating the Cardinals or Milwaukee or the Reds.
So we're not looking at no playoffs this year.
I don't see you guys being in a playoff for a good 5 years.
Right.
I don't see it unless they spend a lot of money and get all these players. It's not going to happen. So I think the Cub fans, you just gotta be patient again, and you gotta enjoy your minor league players that they got coming up, and just hope that that's time to build. And the sad part is, it's you look at some people that are in their 70s that love the Cubs, and now they're like, okay, this is what I got to see for the rest of the few years left I got in life, and I mean, they may not be happy about it, but if things go right, I think it'll do well. I personally don't think they have the right manager in place. I know everybody's high on Ross. He's a great guy.
Excuse me.
But usually your catchers are your better coaches, but I don't see him being a good coach, to be honest with you, head coach.
Right.
I can see him being a good bench coach, but not a manager. And I was shocked that they took him.
Yeah.
I really was. I was really surprised on that.
So I would have loved to just kept Joe there just to keep doing what he's doing. And if you're going to rebuild, keep Joe and rebuild.
They should have done that, but here's the thing. There was some, should I say, because I know internally, there's actually problems there. So it was time for Joe to go. And I think Joe knew he was going to get that Angels job too. That's where Joe lives. So I know that him and his wife were definitely looking forward to being in California. They still actually lived in California when he was coaching for Tampa. But,
he's a cool guy. Cool
Joe
guy.
Is. He's a terrific guy. I've always enjoyed doing things with him. Him and I became friends back in 2008 and stuff. And he's just always been terrific. Great guy to talk to and stuff. So I'm happy for him that he's there. I'm happy for John. Once Philadelphia let John go, I was glad Joe got him over his way. And I know him and Joe were even having some differences, but that happens in coaching. I can say when I coach at times, you're going to have some differences with coaches. But, no, it's a good thing.
Let's talk your Cardinals.
Well, they picked up some good players, I felt, in the offseason. I think personally, I know some Cardinal fans might not be happy with what I said. I think now's the time for them to trade Flaherty. I really do. He's injury prone now. He says he wants to go back to California where he lives. He'd like to play on a team there. Trade him while you can get somebody for him. I think if the Cardinals get Trevor Story, which I think they're getting close on that, they're going to be unstoppable. Do I think they have enough to beat the Dodgers? I don't know.
That's going to be tough.
The Dodgers, they had a close game with them in the playoffs, but the Dodgers have added. Now they lost Corey Seager at short, but they just got a strong base. But I know that they're picking the Brewers to win that division. I really believe if the Cardinals are healthy all year. Look when they got kind of healthy in the end. They won all those games in a row. I think they're really strong. They had, 5 Golden Glovers this year that won the Golden Glove. And, defense is always a key. They definitely got some good hitters. Don't know what the DH is going to do with the National League. If it's going to help teams or hurt teams. Cardinals actually were better off without the DH versus other teams because they had good hitting pitchers. Now this DH comes in. I know there's some speculation they may bring Pujols back. I think that's the dumbest thing they could do personally.
So that is a goal with the National League with the DH then?
Yes. And I think that would be a problem. I think the Cardinals got one talented hitter in the minor leagues right now. You're going to be seeing a Norman Gorman. That guy can hit. The only reason he's not starting at first base is because you got Goldschmidt.
Right.
That guy can hit. So I think the Cardinals will do well this year. I see them to win the Central, I think.
I'm writing it down.
I see them winning the Central if they stay healthy. But that's with every team. But
what about the playoffs?
What
do you think about the playoffs into the World Series? How deep do they go?
I think the Cardinals would get to the World Series if they got by the Dodgers. If they can't get by the Dodgers, it ain't going to happen. Because I think the Dodgers are going to win the NL.
I'm so sorry about the coughin. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I don't see anybody stop them. The Braves lost some players. It's going to hurt them.
And we pray COVID doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Because that could be, I don't even want to talk about COVID on this, but NBA is going through it right now. But I think that's like what you're talking about, with the exception of the Cubs, the Sox, and the Cardinals. If people can stay healthy, I mean, I think that's really, really, really the key to this. And I've already told everybody, not that I'm jumping ship. I will always be a Cubs fan. I'm rooting for the Cubs. Yeah, but I'm excited to see.
I saw bad days as a Cardinal. That's why I don't understand people. You stick with your team, good or bad. I mean, I've always been a Cardinal fan, and there's years that they weren't good. I mean, that happens to everybody.
But I'm excited for what the Cardinals and the Sox both have. And if you love baseball, like I do, like you do, hey, it's almost scary looking at the Sox. Because I went through, before I talked to you, I said, hey, I need to get my game together because, I'm thinking this lockout's going to last a lot longer than it did. And once they come to the agreement on the CBT, I said, let me just look at this roster, and I got a side-by-side comparison of the Cubs and the Sox, and I'm looking through the Sox, and I'm like, is this like a Christmas list or what, like a Sears catalog? I mean, for real, like I'd be torn between who the heck's going to play because you've got your bench could probably be a starting lineup for another baseball team.
That's wwhy I say, like you said, if Eloy goes down there, they got plenty. They got plenty behind him to come in and replace him.
But I think Eloy's got a lot of pressure on him to live up to expectations. And don't ever forget, he was always a Cub first. So I don't care what you guys say. He, man.
That's the thing. You can always count on the Cubs trading some of their good players. They've always done that. It's a lifelong. It goes back to the Cardinals when they traded Lou Brock for Ernie DiGolio. Best trade in baseball history.
I told both of my kids, and I'm glad I've got this on here where they can come back and look at this recording years down the road. I always had an ongoing joke. I said, if either one of you, if any of my boys ever made the Major League Baseball team, you tell them you're playing for the Cubs for free your first year under one assumption is that they trade you. And they're like, Dad, why are you going to do that? I says, because you're going to be a guaranteed superstar once they trade you.
Yes, exactly. When you leave the Cubs.
Since my 24-year-old Jordan Long, I tell you what, it's been an ongoing joke that I said, because it's how it happens, it just, and with, what's his name? Just got traded over with Bryce Harper. Oh, Lord. Schwarber. I mean, we get rid of people, and it's like their potential just flourishes.
That's why they picked up Schwarber, because of the DH. That's why he got all the money he got.
And
it's crazy with this money. I mean, he's going to DH. He's going to go up there and bat and sit on the bench and make all that money. That's what I'm talking about. It's just the little effort of work for what the money they get. Like I was telling you about Carlos Lee when I sat down him the one day, and it's just amazing the money these guys make.
It is.
I mean, I could have lived off his 1 week's salary for the next 10 years.
Yeah. And, I hated to see Schwarber go, but again, he's made for the American League, made for to me, my opinion, for the DH. And I think we held on to him a little longer than we did because of what he did after coming back off that injury into the World Series.
Yeah.
And what we did, I think they felt that they really owed him some compensation, and I'm okay with that because we might not have made it as far as we did had he not come back and done that. But on the other end, I'm happy for him, and I think he's got a role now that he's fulfilling that. I think that's his role because he was never a great outfielder. I mean, he did the job, but he's not gonna be a Mike Trout or whoever. I throw names out there, but he's going to get paid for his hitting, and he can hit. When he hits, he can hit.
Yeah, he does. He's got a good swing. I was surprised Boston didn't keep him, but
I don't know what Boston's got going on.
They didn't want to pay the money. I don't think that's just it.
Yeah, I mean, and going into that, we'll go. All right, well, hey, we're going to wrap this up, but Herb, man, I want to have you back on again. Were you willing to come back on again?
Oh, definitely.
Awesome. Well, we'll get in touch and we'll do this. But, man, I appreciate this. This has been one of the better shows that I've done, and I'm glad that, you were very humble on coming on here and very willing, and I appreciate everything that you've given us, and we will talk soon, my friend.
All right,
All right,
thank you.
hey, once again, it's Herb Forkenbrock with Ballpark Sports Baseball. And do you have a website if they want to go, if there's kids out there?
Yeah, it's www.teamexposure.com.
Okay. And I'm going to tell you, you will play in some of the prestige ballparks that you will ever see. And don't you guys do something in Puerto Rico, Herb?
Well, we used to. Well, we had a tournament that we were going to run out there at one time, and then, well, there was problems over there as far as a lot of things around. We didn't want to put kids over there and be in danger.
Gotcha.
Actually, downside, a good friend over there that handles Caba baseball, he lost his son to a tragic, thing with a gun shooting. So,
okay.
He kind of warned me at the time, says I wouldn't bring those American, well, they're part of America, but bring those kids from your way over, and
Gotcha.
we decided not to. But no, we've done stuff in Tampa. Like I said, we did it in
Tropicana Field, yes.
Speaking of things of that, I mean, the kids, when they got in that World Series championship of ours, we had on the Jumbotron their mug shot and everything up there when they came up to bat, and the sound system put it on, and what a delight it was for those kids that made it every year. We did that for about 5 or 6 years.
It is, because you actually get the kids get the feeling that they're actually in the big leagues. I mean, it is.
We played right after the game.
Yep.
Right after every time we played after the Rays game, and we'd get out of there about midnight. But still, they loved it. The parents loved it. So many memories.
That's what it is making memories. Hey, you get a hold of me when you get back from spring training, and let's hook up, and we'll do a follow-up to this podcast, because I could talk to you all day long, buddy, man. You're a good guy.
All right. No problem.
All right. Once again, Herb Forkenbrock with Ballpark Sports Baseball. Thanks again, buddy. Enjoy your vacation.
Okay. Thanks, Jason. Take care.
You too, buddy.
All right.
Bye-bye.